Deep in the shadows lies a doctrine obscure and unsettling. It thrives at the intersection of fringe ideology and violent extremism. It is a doctrine with no formal manifesto, no central command, just cryptic texts, secretive nections, and a philosophy that dares its followers to cross every line society holds sacred. And at its core lies a cult where black magic meets militant accelerationism, a cult known as the Order of Nine Angles. Welcome. Step closer. For tonight, we venture into the murky territory of the Order of Nine Angles, its origins, beliefs, and the confirmed cases that have drawn international concern. Before we go any further, a brief warning. Viewer discretion is advised. This video is based on documented cases and investigations, but some aspects necessarily enter the realm of speculation. Our aim is to inform, not to provoke or glorify. Now, let's open the file on one of the most disturbing movements operating in the shadows of modern extremism. The Order of Nine Angles, or ONE, began quietly in the late 1960s, hidden deep inside Britain's fringe occult scene. According to its own lore, it emerged from a cluster of pagan temples tucked away in the remote Welsh marches, supposedly unified under the guidance of a mysterious high priestess. Much of that early history is myth, mixed with deliberate disinformation. But one detail stands out. In 1973, a man calling himself Anton Long entered the group, and everything changed. Researchers have long believed that Anton Long was actually British neo-Nazi activist David Myatt. He denies it, of course, but the writing styles, ideological overlaps, and timing make the connection difficult to ignore. Under Long's leadership, the Order of Nine Angles, or ONE, began circulating grimoires and typewritten manuscripts. The texts were heavy with occult imagery, apocalyptic visions, and a philosophy meant to shock anyone who dared look too closely. By the late 1980s, their journal Fenrir connected them to other groups abroad, and by the 2010s, the ONE had bled into the darkest corners of the internet, influencing violent extremist groups such as Atomwaffen Division and National Action. Despite its claims of ancient lineage, the ONE's origins feel engineered to be confusing. Even the name Nine Angles hints at something esoteric, something half scientific and half mystical, suggesting 9 dimensions or emanations accessible only through forbidden ritual. What's certain is that, by the 1980s, the ONE was known as a strange hybrid, a satanic group openly praising Nazism, celebrating violence, and framing its beliefs as a pathway to transcendence. At the core of the ONE is what some calls traditional Satanism, but this is not performative rebellion or theatrical devil worship. The ONE ideology is built on a worldview that combines occultism with fascism. Members believe humanity is moving through vast eons, each ruled by distinct energies. According to their mythos, the modern Western world has decayed under Judeo-Christian, or what they call Magian, influence. The ONE insists this so-called Magian age must end violently, and to bring about its collapse, they envision a new civilization, the Imperium. A harsh, hierarchical world ruled by a warrior elite, and ultimately leading to an Aryan empire stretching far beyond Earth. To reach that imagined future, the ONE adherents are encouraged to break through every moral limit. Their writings promote violence, criminal transgression, and extreme acts framed as spiritual tests. Murder is rebranded as culling, a ritualized killing meant to eliminate the weak. Sexual assault is presented as a tool of dominance, an act that supposedly empowers the practitioner and pushes them closer to becoming what the ONE calls the Übermensch, a superior being forged through suffering and cruelty. Authorities in the UK, Canada, and the US have repeatedly expressed concern that ONE literature explicitly encourages sexual violence, including against minors. And several convicted offenders have cited the ONE ideology as a guiding force behind their crimes, confirming that the group's philosophy spills easily from theory into practice. But the ONE is more than a call to brutality. It also promotes occult ritual, insisting that its followers can access an acausal realm filled with dark gods and entities. The rituals, often involve blood offerings, invocations at ancient sites, and ceremonies intended to dissolve the self in chaotic forces. This merging of nihilism, magic, and extremist politics forms the foundation of ONA's worldview. Only through destruction, literal destruction, can a new world emerge. Structurally, the Order of Nine Angles is not a centralized organization. It has no official headquarters, no public leadership, and no membership registry. Instead, it exists as a collective of small independent cells known as nections. And a nection might be a group of 2 or 3 people, or even a single individual acting alone. The nection can be declared by anyone, so long as they follow the ONA texts and embrace the Sevenfold Way, a path of trials and challenges meant to harden the initiate physically, psychologically, and spiritually. And one of the most disturbing features of the ONA is its method of infiltration. The group encourages members to take on what it calls insight roles, positions within other religions, political movements, extremist groups, or even the military and law enforcement. The initiate is told to live the insight role fully, sometimes for years, learning skills, gaining access, and subtly pushing the host organization toward chaos or extremism. This strategy has had catastrophic consequences. In Sweden, in 1997, an ONA-aligned pair murdered an Algerian man in Gothenburg's Kielers Park. The killing appeared ritualistic, and occult symbols linked to the ONA were found at the scene. The crime was one of the first to publicly reveal the deadly potential of ONA ideology. In England, the case of Ryan Fleming showed the group's teachings in action. Fleming, a committed ONA follower, was convicted in 2011 for imprisoning and sexually assaulting a vulnerable teenager. After serving his sentence, he reoffended in 2017, this time sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl, and in 2021 for unsupervised contact with children. His writings and associations made clear that he saw sexual violence as an insight role, a perverse interpretation encouraged by the ONA texts. In 2020, the ONA's influence reached the U.S. military in a devastating way. Army Private Ethan Melzer, stationed with the 173rd Airborne in Italy, secretly pledged allegiance to the Order of Nine Angles. He leaked classified information, like troop movements, location details, and defensive plans, to an ONA-affiliated extremist cell. His intention was to orchestrate an ambush that would massacre his own unit. Melzer believed that triggering a large-scale attack would help spark the chaos ONA desires. Fortunately, the plot was intercepted by the FBI. That same year in Georgia, American authorities arrested a small but dangerous ONA-inspired terror cell, led by a man named Luke Lane. The group had gathered weapons, conducted paramilitary training in the woods, and performed a blood ritual involving the sacrifice of a ram. Their plan was to murder a local anti-fascist activist, along with his wife and children. The case revealed how ONA's blend of blood magic and extremist violence could manifest outside Europe and spread into rural pockets of the United States. In Toronto, Canada, investigators encountered ONA ideology during a horrific murder at a mosque. Guilherme von Nudegem was charged with fatally stabbing a mosque caretaker, a killing marked by brutality and a ritualistic nature. Police later found the ONA symbols and a satanic altar in his home. The case prompted Canada's armed forces to open an internal investigation after discovering that a member of their elite Special Forces unit had ties to an ONA-affiliated group called the Northern Order. And in the UK, the so-called demonic pact murders shocked the nation. In 2020, 18-year-old Danielle Hussein killed 2 sisters in a London park after performing rituals influenced by ONA teachings. In his home, police found writings documenting a pact he believed would grant him wealth and protection in exchange for offering blood. The sheer strangeness and brutality of the crime reignited calls for the British government to ban the Order of Nine Angles as a terrorist organization. These cases illustrate a disturbing pattern. The ONA ideas move fluidly between occultism, extremism, and real-world violence. The group is small, but its ideological reach is disproportionate. Teenagers, soldiers, loners, and extremists across Europe and North America have adopted its teachings, creating a constellation of loosely connected threats. In recent years, law enforcement agencies, anti-extremism groups, and intelligence analysts have begun to acknowledge the ONA as a transnational danger. The Southern Poverty Law Center has described the order as a key node in the niche intersection of occultism and neo-Nazi extremism. In the UK, members of parliament have repeatedly pushed to have it banned. And in the United States, a 2020 joint report made by the FBI, DHS, and the National Counterterrorism Center warned that the ONA's ideology actively inspires violent accelerationist networks. But as the ONA's influence becomes more visible, another question has emerged, one that drifts beyond extremism and into the territory of conspiracy and hidden power. Some analysts and independent researchers have speculated that the ONA may not be what it appears. Could it be an organic cult, born from fringe occultism and extremist politics? Or was it in some way nudged, shaped, or exploited by intelligence services? This theory focuses largely on one man, David Myatt. His life is difficult to reconcile into a single narrative. He was a key figure in British neo-Nazi circles, involved with groups like Column 88, a paramilitary Nazi organization rumored to have had ties to NATO's Operation Gladio. During the Cold War, Gladio orchestrated clandestine stay-behind networks throughout Europe, some of which allegedly included extremist groups. If these rumors are true, Myatt may have worked alongside or within intelligence frameworks far earlier than anyone realized. Stranger still, Myatt was once questioned in connection with the murder of activist Hilda Morel, an unsolved case filled with odd details and speculation about intelligence involvement. He was never charged, but the association lingered. Throughout the 1990s, he continued leading extremist organizations, yet somehow evaded long-term prosecution, despite multiple arrests. Some journalists have wondered whether someone was protecting him, and if so, why? Then comes the most bewildering turn. In the late 1990s, Myatt abruptly converted to radical Islam. He began publicly supporting Al-Qaeda and advocating violent jihad, an astonishing transformation for a longtime neo-Nazi. Years later, he renounced Islam and announced yet another ideological shift, this time toward a personal form of mysticism. These ideological leaps are so extreme that even former extremists speculated whether Myatt was playing a multi-layered role using the same insight techniques the ONA prescribes. This leads to the provocative question, who was the infiltrator? Were the ONA members trying to infiltrate the world, or someone was infiltrating the ONA? This conspiracy theory suggests that the ONA could have been created, or later steered, as a kind of destabilization tool, a group so extreme, so toxic, that it would either attract unstable individuals, who could then be monitored, or act as a way to discredit far-right movements by association. There is no solid evidence to confirm this, but the pattern of infiltration, secrecy, and ideological shape-shifting keeps the theory alive. Of course, it is equally possible that there was nothing covert behind the scenes at all, and that the ONA grew out of Myatt's obsessions, his philosophical experiments, and the contributions of a small circle of followers who took the ideas farther than he ever intended. The simplest explanation is often the most accurate. And yet, with the ONA, simplicity is rare. Because one thing is undeniable. This small, decentralized cult managed to embed itself inside extremist networks around the world, influence terror plots, and inspire ritualistic violence, all while maintaining an air of mystery that even intelligence agencies are still unraveling. The Order of Nine Angles remains an anomaly, a dangerous hybrid of ideology and occultism, conspiracy, and chaos. And despite decades of investigation, one question still lingers. Is the ONA simply the creation of extremists enthralled by darkness? Or is there something else behind it? Something guiding its evolution from the shadows? The answer is out there, just beyond reach, hidden in an angle no one has fully uncovered. And until that angle is found, the ONA remains one of the most disturbing and enigmatic cults of our time. Thank you for venturing beyond the veil with us. If you enjoyed the video, Then please like it. Subscribe, and join the Watchers. The shadows have more secrets to reveal. Until next time.